everyone. Yes, it is I, the Reddit Oh my goodness, I did not start that off right. Okay. What I meant to say was hello. It is I, your host, Rebecca, for the Reddit Randos podcast. And I'm here with another episode tonight. We are going to spend a while since we've been into these types of stories, but tonight is, or whatever day, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you, we are going to go over stories about coworkers in the workplace. So depending on what kind of workplace you got, so like for example, for me, for instance, technically I don't have any employees or coworkers or anything because I am now stay at home with my kids and I get to enjoy doing a bunch of random new things now at home, as it is, you know, as you other fellow maybe stay at home parents have just, know it's quite a lot of work still. Since Justin, my co-host and also my husband, has changed job positions where he is working different shifts, and I'm basically just taking over the house while he's doing those shifts and working out this new position and everything. So yeah, we're gonna see how that goes, and eventually we'll have like more time together. So him and I have actually been playing some more video games. We got a new PC set up, and yeah, I've been playing some Pal World. So comment below or give me a shout out if you guys have ever played Pal World. I know they just had a recent new update and it's actually been really fun. I'm a fan of it, but you guys can tell me if you like it or not and what's your favorite things or what you don't like about it. I don't know, I don't really care. I just like to hear from you guys. So, but I mean, that's just what I've been up to lately. Just been kicking it back and very busy schedules with the kids, swimming lessons. We got softball and baseball that we've been doing. So yeah, very busy. And I'm sorry it's been a little bit since the last one, but hey, like I said, I know I'm gonna get more stories out there. I'm figuring out my schedule right now. It's been a little hectic. And with this heat, we actually lost power the other day for like 5 to 6 hours. In like the hottest time of the day was like 110 degrees. That's what the heat index was. And our basically with our power out, our AC was out. We had to stay at someone's house for like the whole day. Yeah, it was a little crazy. So like I said, it's been a little hectic, a little crazy, but I'm getting back into the groove now and trying to figure out how to adjust everything with my life and schedule. So I know. I feel like I was able to do it more before, but I think it was because we had more routine and schedule. And of course, for me, leaving my job and being a stay-at-home mom, what at the busiest time because it was like at the end of the school year into the summer. So it was go, go, go. We had so much to do. So with that said, we are back on now point of what I was talking about with our theme tonight, and it's going to be about coworkers and all about the coworker life. Who likes their coworkers out there? Raise your hand if you like your coworkers out there. I will say, back at my former job, I actually did like my coworkers. I feel like I was a very easy person to get along with. I feel like I like to say I was, because honestly, I still have people who I worked with who are reaching out to me, and like we still contact and talk to each other. So I'd like to say I made some like impression. I've made some impressions on people. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. We're not gonna get into that. Anyways, so our first story, we're just gonna jump into it. Our first story was from 9 months ago, and it is from the subreddit AITA, which is another subreddit under Am I the A-hole? And the title is, Am I the A-hole for refusing to give my coworker their office back now that work from home has been canceled? I know this was only 9 months ago and we are well past the pandemic, but who all literally started working from home and stayed working from home since the pandemic? That's basically where I was. We were we were work from home, and then they wanted us to get back into the office until the second wave of COVID started hitting people. And then I was pregnant, and I was like, after I came back to the office from work from home, and I was like, can I go back? Because I'm pregnant and I don't want to get sick. And then I just stayed worked from home ever since. And they decided that they just never would bring us back because they wanted more people to work. And they didn't have enough room for everyone. So I will say that was the nice thing. It was very convenient to be very close to my kids. But now it's even more convenient now that I'm not working and I'm always with my kids, which can be a good and a bad thing sometimes. It just depends on how you look at it. So... anyway, sorry, let's go back. Okay, am I the a-hole for refusing to give my coworker their office back now that work from home has been canceled? Back in 2023, a woman, Jen, in my building left for maternity leave. After having her child, Jen took advantage of our company's work from home program, which left her office open. Sounds familiar, except I only had a cubicle. I didn't have an office. I placed in a request for the space with my manager and was given the go. So I got to leave my crappy cubicle for my very own private office, which sounds really nice. My employer has announced that work from home will end on November 17th, 2025. All employees are to be back in the office by that date. Yeah, that sucks. I know. Yesterday, work from home employees came in for tours and desk assignments. When Jen saw I was in her office, she became agitated and asked if I'd be leaving so she could take back over. I told her flatly that I had no intent to give up that office. Jen spoke with a manager about this, and management's immediate decision was that I was under no obligation to move out of the office. Good job. Good job, management. I was approached and asked if I had any interest in returning to a cubicle, which I'm not who would be after having an office. Seriously. I said no, and there was no follow-up from my manager or HR, as they both see the matter as closed, as they should. Now, just a day later, I'm getting a stink from coworkers who think I'm punishing Jen for something outside of her control. Jen also has emailed me asking me to consider the position she's in and that she's already being punished. She's being specifically punished by the company by being compelled to return to the building and asking me to consider her feelings. Sincerely, I definitely understand how much this sucks for her and everyone else being forced to come back, but I like having my own office. I have a lot of stuff in here that I'd otherwise have to carry back home. I'd be giving up the privacy that I've become adjusted to. And if I'm being honest, I enjoy actually having a nice window to look out and none of the noise of the cubicles. Am I the a-hole on this one? So first of all, no. I don't think anyone in your position would not want to give that up. If I had come back, like I said, I went home on kind of the taking advantage of the work from home policy as I was pregnant, and I did talk to HR about having that done. If I had my own office, but knew that it wasn't going to be held for me forever because I decided to work from home, and that was my permanent residence until the company decided to have everyone pushed back in. That's someone else's office, and that's been their office for so long, then no, I don't expect that. I expect that I would probably just find a cubicle, and maybe they'd have more workspace or another office available for me. I'd have to speak with management about that. I don't know why she didn't think to speak to management when she was coming back and saying, hey, is my office available? And they could say no, and she could ask, well, I'd really like to have an office back for my position. So she shouldn't be taking it to the person who has no connection with her that took the office. Management said it was okay, so she needs to take it up to management. And if management has no problem with the other person, with OP being in that office, then, I mean, I guess that's your answer, Jen. So you just gotta just roll with it. I'm sorry. So there is an edit. So someone, or a few people really, brought up that I hadn't considered was the question of if I vacated the office. Would that necessarily mean Jen could have it back? On Monday, my manager had approached me about returning to a cubicle to verify my lack of interest. But this morning I checked with HR on the policy. Sure enough, you cannot simply choose someone to give your office to as office assignments are selected by policy. The office would go into the pool if I vacated, which means Jen would be competing with everyone else over it. Several of the work from home people who have returned are more senior than her, and at least one of them is definitely interested in the next bidding that comes up, so Jen would be out of luck. HR is going to circulate a reminder on the office bidding policies. I also brought up the email with my manager, who stated she will reply to it and CC in Jen's manager to ensure there is an understanding that this matter should be considered closed. I mean, so there you go. OP took her shot right away when Jen left to get the office, and management didn't have a problem with it. Now that Jen's back, she can't just simply get her office back because it really wasn't hers. It was given the opportunity to be hers, and then she had the opportunity to work from home, had to come back. Now it's up to grabs for everyone. Well, since OP's already there, there's no up for grabs until she vacates it. So until that happens, yeah, no one else really has a chance until then. So totally understand. And no, you are not the a-hole. Let's go to top comment. So the top comment is, someone did say, is there a reason Jen had the office? High position that required privacy for calls or meetings, etc. If there is no work reason for her to have the office and HR, your boss, aren't telling you that you have to move, just stand your ground. OP had responded underneath that saying, my company is weird. We have 15 non-managerial offices. When one becomes available, you may bid on one, and whoever has the most seniority and best performance metrics wins the office. Generally, one or two offices become available every year, either because of promotions or turnovers. So Jen and I are no different than anyone else in the cubicles. When it became available, I got it because I asked and had the seniority and metrics to win over anyone else who'd placed a request. Okay, so she had a fair chance with it. Someone underneath that said, you followed the rules and worked hard. They are trying to subvert the rules and take something from you, not the a-hole. Yeah, you could say, thank you, Jen, for your request to consider your feelings with regards to my office. After much consideration of your feelings, I have come to the conclusion that my feelings take priority. Ciao. That was someone who said you could respond to emails. That is funny. Yeah, no, I'd say she did everything right. She should stand her ground, and she's gone to her HR and manager, and the manager in this case, because she has higher ground, will be speaking to Jen's manager, which is the right course of action. So, OP, good job for you. Looks like you're a stand-up person who's been working hard at a place, and you deserve it. So, to the next one. The next story I have is from 6 months ago. It is a Best of Redditor Updates post. So, and this one, honestly, I think anyone who's been working at a place for a little bit can understand this title as soon as I say it. But the title is, Former Coworker Stole My Work and Keeps Contacting Me for Help. So, okay. There is a trigger warning for workplace harassment. So if that's a little too much for you to handle, which, I mean, this whole episode is about coworkers and probably the harassment they are doing to each other. So I'm just going to, I guess, give that out to you. The original post was from June 18th of 2024, so just literally a couple of years ago. And it starts off as, I have a weird issue that I need help with. My former coworker, Lulu, joined my company about 7 years ago as a relatively inexperienced but enthusiastic junior team member. I trained her on some of her duties, and due to the nature of our jobs, we worked closely together for a time. All was mostly well, but I noticed Lulu's sensitivity and immaturity about some things, mostly about feeling left out of projects that didn't concern her. Because she would claim to be hurt and disappointed by being left out, our manager began including her in reoccurring meetings that she didn't need to be in. She'd rarely contribute to these meetings, but insist on attending often. We'd need to move the meeting to accommodate her increasingly messy calendar, which was full of all the meetings she insisted on joining. Oh, heck no. No, this girl is honestly, I honestly think this girl just wants to be in the know of everything so she can either boss people around or, I don't know. Yeah. I can't believe the manager has agreed to bring her into these meetings when she has nothing to do with them. That's crazy. I would not stand for that at all. Okay. If we didn't move the meeting to her at her request, she'd have an urgent meeting with her boss complaining that we were going behind her back. But if it does not include you, Lulu, Delulu. It's just, I think maybe that's why she's Lulu. Delulu is Lulu, or Lulu. I got that mixed up. Lulu is Delulu. That's just crazy. Okay. Lulu received a significant promotion a few years into her tenure, and her behavior worsened. In meetings with my team, she'd bring up how being left out negatively. I'm sorry, guys. This is ridiculous. You can just all laugh at me making mistakes here. Hopefully that makes up for me messing up. You can laugh at that. So after how being left out negatively impacted her work, we'd explained that she didn't need to worry about the project in question, and then at meetings with our mutual manager present, she'd repeat the whole performance again with more dramatic flair. She'd also start claiming ownership of things only tenuously related to her job. At one point, I created a company account on a free software tool for other departments to do work related to a specific project. Lulu complained that due to the nature of the software tool, she should have been consulted before anyone opened the account or used it. In other words, she was very good at borrowing trouble where there wasn't any and bogging down workflows due to her own hurt feelings and self-importance. I was supposed to continue working with Lulu, but it was extremely difficult. Several times I approached her about working collaboratively on new initiatives, but regardless of how I worded the request, she interpreted the conversation as me trying to tell her what to do. I mean, okay, whatever. Maddeningly, Lulu frequently did tell me how to do my job. The only way to work with her was to give her approval powers, even when it made no sense. This grated on me because she was very green in many areas of her own job and not at all acknowledged about mine. So eventually, I just avoided working with her whenever possible. Our team performance suffered because of this, but since our boss coddled Lulu, which is a huge red flag on the boss, that's not good leadership right there. You cannot be coddling people just to make them happy. That's ridiculous. That is literally how jobs or teams fail. But since our boss coddled Lulu, there was nothing more to do about it. A month or so ago, Lulu got another job and reassigned. In the days leading up to her departure, she quizzed me intensely on my day-to-day work, asking how I did or approached certain things. This tripped a wire in my brain, and after Lulu left my company, I looked at our internal knowledge center and discovered she'd checked out and downloaded several of my own guides, frameworks, and templates. She is now essentially doing my job at her new company. The same title, type of work, but also literally my job because she's using all my collateral, which I also suspect that she used to get the job in the first place. The latest development is that she periodically emails me and asks for help. No way. So she literally is already out of the company. You guys aren't working together because she's in a different company doing the same job. And she is emailing you asking for help? You don't even like this person. I would never consider emailing someone who wasn't a dear close friend of mine and was supporting me going to a new position for like the same job position. I would never just email an old coworker asking how to do things. That's crazy. Especially one that you know that, I don't know. Maybe Lulu is that much Delulu and doesn't know that she's not liked. I don't know. That's crazy though. That's crazy. Okay. So these emails, so she's asking me for help. These emails are obsequious. I have no idea obsequious. Maybe opposite. These emails are obsequious in tone and are things she could easily Google for herself. Like I probably should Google that word. That's probably what I should do. I can't decide if she thinks I'm dumb enough to help her out or if she believes she is so charming that I couldn't possibly resist her request. I honestly think she thinks she's that charming because she hasn't figured out that you don't like her. I am torn between pretending I don't get these emails or just responding half-heartedly enough that if it's no longer worth her time to even send them, or telling her outright to figure things out for herself. She made my job incredibly difficult for years. I am not inclined to help her. Honestly, I think you should just reply to her and say, stop emailing me, and block her. I wonder if you can block her through work emails. Okay. So there is an update. So let's see. This was originally in June 2024. An update came over in October, same year, 2024. So wow. Okay, so June, July, August, September, October. So that's 5-ish, 4 or 5 months later. That's crazy. So thank you so much for publishing an answer to my question. So I'm guessing she got some help in there. I would say she got some help. I appreciated your advice, Allison. Oh, right. I forgot. This was posted originally on Ask a Manager by Allison, who answers those because she works in the HR department and she really does help in that area. So, woohoo, Allison. Okay, so I appreciated your advice, Allison, and the advice shared by the commentariat. It was validating to see that others agreed Lulu is, Delulu. Ha! Got her nickname there. I do have a small update to share. I ended up just ignoring Lulu's emails. I haven't heard anything else from her, but a coworker told me that they'd contacted Lulu about a system she still had access to. It was an external tool that my coworker needed to take ownership of, which required Lulu to remove herself from the account. She did, but only after being rude AF and unhelpful to my coworker, ignoring them for weeks instead of just performing one simple action. I did soft launch the issue of stolen IP with my boss, the one who coddled Lulu, by asking if Lulu was working for a direct competitor. She is not, but my boss did ask why I wanted to know so I told them. They did not really react, but that is in the line with the Lulu can do no wrong behavior I witnessed for many years, so I was not surprised. In the comments, people were incredulous that meetings would be moved at Lulu's insistence. Believe me, I agree with you. It's very difficult to explain the chokehold Lulu had on management. It's the most dysfunctional and frustrating vocational experience I have ever had. Yeah, her just saying, insisting she has to be at all those meetings, they had to move around for her, according to her schedule. That That is crazy. She's not even important. She's not even, like, needed in these meetings. She's not like a manager. That's, like, the crazy part of that. Okay, so, yeah. So, let's see. Where was I? Yeah, the chokehold channel management. Okay, it was the most, vocational experience I've ever had. Imagine someone claiming they need information to do their job, only they are not really doing that part of their job. But when anyone offers to help with that part of the job, they throw a tantrum. It was exhausting, but the only person who was ever in the right was Lulu. We all just did what we could to avoid the blow-ups, which is, that is not a good workplace environment. So hopefully that she's gone. They don't have another Lulu in the works. Okay, she puts, lastly, I don't work there anymore. Woohoo! Good. I was going to say, you need to get out of there because who knows what that boss is going to do again. I realized that while problem children like Lulu were gone, the systemic issues and gaslighting that allowed her to be a problem for so long were not going away anytime soon. Like I said, the boss there doesn't help that. She's basically just letting that happen, and it's just going to get worse. A recruiter contacted me with a great opportunity, and I jumped at it. This all happened right around the time my question was published, so I didn't get to interact with the comments much. However, I did read every single one of them and took all the information as a lesson learned should I encounter another Delulu Lulu. So, that was fun. So good job. I always like that I think it's a website, the Ask a Manager. So I think that's definitely more of the Ask a Manager website and not a subreddit specifically. So good job on that one. To the next. Okay. The next one we have is from 6 months ago, and it is another Bore updates or Best of Reddit updates. Sorry, I'm just finding these. Okay, so this one was originally posted at Am I Overreacting? And the question or the title of it is, Am I Overreacting? My coworker took video of me outside of work to prove I'm not disabled. So, this happened back in January of this past year. Okay. This is weird, so I need to know if I feel like this is the same thing as the other one. That like, this is weird. This is a weird situation. Am I overreacting? Most likely you're not. Okay, so this is weird, so I need to know if I'm crazy for going as far as I did. I have a condition of chronic pain. The way I explain it to people without chronic pain is that if pain were on levels from 1 to 10, normal people are at most at a 2 or 3 from day to day, where people with CP, chronic pain, are at more like a 6. Like, imagine stepping on a Lego or hitting your funny bone. That's a very brief but excruciating 8. It's like if you pulled a muscle, and so there's pain and discomfort if you move it, but pretty much daily. Some days I am higher on the scale. Rare blessed days I'm more a 4, or by some miracle lower. Overall, I am active and operate well. I do own canes, but I only use them on days when I'm 7 or above. Such a day came this past Sunday. I can already know where this is heading. On top of my full-time job, I have a part-time. Due to being physically and legally disabled, I had all the paperwork already filed with my job in case I ever needed accommodations. I have a handicapped marker on my license plate and the placard. I think I've done this before where I couldn't remember what it was called. I think it's placard. I'm going to say it's placard. Okay. On my rear view mirrors and the works. I was recently moved to a location closer to my home. I love my new team. My boss, Amy, is really great. My colleague, Casey, and I get along okay, but we're the same position as assistant coordinators to Amy. The reason I was moved to that location was that it expanded and they needed more hands, so they added me. Casey has wanted a promotion for a long time, and everyone knows it. I was pretty open that I don't. LOL, any promotion from my position would be a full-time, and I already have a full-time job. I do this job to pad my savings, and because I frankly like the job, being busy also helps with my anxiety. I mean, Casey works hard, but she also likes to talk over me or rush to take charge of something before I can when I clearly was getting to it. She then announces it. Oh, I handled that for you, OP. Don't worry. And at first, I was annoyed, but over time, I was like, all right then, but you didn't have to. I talked to Amy about this. I want to pull my weight, but it can be challenging and redundant when Casey is racing to beat me to it. Ugh, so childish. I'm sorry, that's so childish. The point was for us to split tasks evenly. Amy said she would talk to her, and I don't know what came of that, but things didn't really change much, so I accepted it. So when I came in Monday with my cane, everyone had questions. I emailed Amy Sunday night, so she knew, but I tend to be private, so what I told everyone else was that I have a condition, and sometimes I need a cane, but not always. There, see? Short and simple. Amy accommodated me. She assigned my tasks that required little to no movement. I was very grateful and got everything done pretty early, so I called over the radio if there was anything else I could do. Casey said no, she's got it, so I just handled admin stuff that's usually on the back burner. Literally replied with, okay, I'll tackle the admin list then. And Casey said no, she's got it. But Amy followed that with a thank you to me and confirmation that this would be helpful. I still needed my cane yesterday, which was Tuesday, and it was similar. I completed most of the admin to-dos, and Amy was so relieved I have it done. She thanked me for coming in and doing all that instead of calling out. Casey made a comment that she could have helped, but I said that that's okay and thanked her for handling the more physical task. Oh, I don't see what's wrong with this. We ended up walking to the parking lot together, and she asked which car was mine, so I pointed at it. Then she said, so I know you're not disabled, by the way. And I asked what she meant. She just repeated herself and said, so no cane tomorrow, okay? I won't tell. Just no cane tomorrow. There's like big googly eyes pointed on there. I stood there like, what the F? But I was meeting my best friend and just left to make it on time. Yeah, don't worry about it, girl. I met my BFF Joy at the bar, and we had a wonderful time. I brought my cane, but to be honest, I didn't always use it. For example, I didn't use it to walk from my table to the bar to request another drink, and when I got up to hug Joy goodbye. Ugh. Today, when I woke up, I'm not saying to her not using the cane. I really don't. And I'm saying that because she's telling us examples of what she did at the bar. So here we go. Today, when I woke up, my pain was higher than my normal, so I took my cane along. I texted Amy that I have my cane, but doing okay in small bursts to put me in coach. Laugh out loud. I was having a good time at my main job and didn't give Casey a thought. I arrived at my part-time job, and Casey saw my cane and went red. I mean, like the way I looked when the Eagles lost to the 49ers. LOL, just super mad. I greeted everyone, and she ignored me completely. We got our assignments, and she snidely said to me, well, can you handle that with your cane and all? In a tone that even made Amy turn to look at her like, WTF? I said I can manage and thanked her for her concern, and we went about our work. Once again, she raced to beat me to things and saying over the radio, don't strain yourself, OP. I did X task and got Y done. I was so confused until about an hour ago when she finished work, and then she again walked with me to the parking lot, but this time showed me a video. It was me. It was me at the bar last night with Joy. It was just like, why do you have a video of me? That's weird. And she said it's proof. I asked of what? And she said it's proof I'm not disabled as I acted so wounded all day at work, but suddenly don't need my cane at a bar. What? I wanted to explain that that's just how CP works. Like, yes, I can stand up to hug my friend or get up and walk 3 strides to order a new drink, but I can't, for example, lean over and organize a bottom drawer without a chair to sit in. I mean, I totally get that. After a while, when you're like walking all day or standing all day, sitting in a chair to do some task is really nice. And that's with someone without CP. Okay. I wanted to explain that CP is just an umbrella, and under it are a myriad of experiences and abilities, and that honestly, if she had left my tasks alone, I'd have done them. She didn't give me the chance and said, "No cane tomorrow, I'm serious, or I'm going to Chad." Chad is Amy's boss. So she's going to go above the boss's head. Ugh. I said, "About what?" But she was already walking away from me and just got in her car. It's just weird, and oddly, Chad would know this is BS because his boyfriend has CP too. Oh my gosh. I'm not so much worried about being found out or anything, but it's just weird. I'm literally typing an email to Amy, CCing Chad, about this weird behavior because it's just odd. Yeah, no, that is so good that you're reaching out to them because that's an HR matter that she is literally following you and videotaping you. That's like a hostile environment because now, honestly, not even a hostile environment. That's stalking. That's stalking you. That's gone too far, coworker. You're now following me and watching me and videotaping me on my off hours. Like, you're not getting paid to do this. Okay. That's just, yeah. So yeah, behavior because it's just odd. Am I crazy to want to preemptively explain this? I am anxious and paranoid in general, so I don't want to overreact or make things worse. Yeah, no, you're great. This is a good idea for you just letting them know. Just say, "Hey, a really weird thing just happened with with Casey. She showed me a video that she took of me outside of work while I was at a bar, me getting up to get a drink, and hugging my friend without my cane, and now she's accusing me I don't have CP." Literally, just say it like that. Keep it short and simple on what you heard. And just say, "Could you talk to her about not doing that? That's making me uncomfortable and not really wanting me to feel safe." Literally, that doesn't make me feel safe. So there's an edit. I sent the email. Good job. And also, thanks for letting me know I'm not crazy for feeling weirded out. Totally valid. Completely valid. Also, I will simply block anyone who is saying this is fake. Oh, I'm simply blocking anyone that's saying this is fake. Yeah, no, I could see this happening. Honestly, there are people out there that are crazy like this. She says, "I don't have time for your BS, to be frank." I also texted Amy and Chad. So, edit number 2. Oh, what did she say? Jesus Chrysler driving Christ. That's an interesting way of putting that. That's a lot of notifications. I'll edit to try and reply all here because this isn't enough coffee in the world. Okay. Let me get into there. Okay, so it's morning and I'm still about at a 7. And it's cold today, so even if I didn't want to bring my cane, I would have to. I texted ahead so Amy can start thinking about tasks today. For some common themes I've noticed, yeah, my pain scale Lego ideal wasn't on scale. Stepping on a Lego was the funniest thing I could think of that hurts, so I wanted to paint a picture. I wasn't making a clinical pain chart, LOL. Feel free to use your own theater of the mind scenarios to help people without chronic pain to have an idea of what it's like. Also, I don't understand the vague "don't use the term CP" comments. Oh, okay, because CP doesn't just mean like chronic pain. It could also mean like cerebral palsy and other things completely out there. Like, I just know it could mean a lot of things. But like she says, in this post, it means chronic pain. She was just shortening it up. A lot of people do that when they're trying not to have to type it out so many times. They literally say chronic pain, CP. That's what it means. So people, come on, stop being so literal. It's without that context. Sorry, but I just don't get the issue here of why it's upsetting. I don't know. Amy and Chad have both responded, so we will see how today goes. Anyway, this was my first break in my full-time job, so I have to get back to it. So there was a consensus that everyone agreed to she's not overreacting. Commenters advised OP to make a formal complaint with HR and their superiors, and then they also told OP that this is already stalking territory. What did I say? Yes, this is stalking. Like, we're getting into a point where this is not making you feel safe. This coworker is not making you feel safe. So comments by OP about getting witnesses. The problem is that I don't have any other than what others have seen about her taking over my task. We were alone both times she's confronted me in the parking lot, and she showed me the video on her phone. I was really worried that my past trauma was causing me to blow this out of proportion, so I was on the fence about it, like maybe I'm just out of touch here. She says, oh, okay, so she's 34, OP's 34, and Casey is 29. The job is really specific, but it has to do with the public school system. We have a lot to do with kids who struggle with specific subjects and help them in a way a tutor would, but more fun if that makes sense. HR issues are run through Chad's boss, so it's boss's boss's boss, who is also basically the second in command of the entire org. Okay, I mean, let's see where this goes. So one day later, we have an update. One day later, I was asked a lot to update when I got off work, so here it is. Today was weirdly quiet, which almost made it worse. Not sure what everyone knows, but they at least know something's up. I wasn't even in the same area as Casey during check-in, and I have no clue when she actually arrived. I usually see her at our shifts or on the same hours. Turns out she'd been assigned to the back office doing other tasks, hours reduced, while I was put at the admin booth at the entrance handling paperwork and spreadsheets. They definitely took advantage of because I'm good at it. So we didn't cross paths at all at first. I actually turned on voice recorder app as soon as I got to work, just in case. I also added a shortcut on my phone so I could start recording quickly if I needed to, just in case, which is very smart. I don't know how many times I wish I was able to record phone calls with some leadership reps that I was under that were very unprofessional in the things that they would say to me. And they'd obviously get away with it because it was my word against them. And I was never able to record it because I'd have to ask them every time we get in a call to record the phone call. And obviously, I honestly would never think of recording because I didn't think a conversation would go in that direction that they put it. So it's just so many times I wish I recorded the phone calls I was in because it's so unbelievable on what they said. And they're still working there as a leader. Well, actually, one of mine got fired in the past while I was with her. So maybe karma got caught up with her. But I'm just saying that. So good for you for you're smart for having that on hand. That's great. Okay. So where we at? So she had a shortcut on her phone just in case she needed to get to it quickly. I didn't want to be caught off guard before. I did feel a little silly doing it. I know it sounds like it's too much, but honestly, it will save you. But I'd rather feel silly than unprepared, you know? I didn't see Casey until near the end of the shift, and even then it was barely a glimpse. She looked up, saw me, and immediately turned away, like full-on avoidance. It made my stomach drop. I just turned away and minded my business. Amy was very reassuring, but also vague at first. I didn't like that, and I think my face said so, and she said she doesn't like all the red tape and such either, but to be patient because they need to go through all the right channels and steps. Amy let me go home early, but she told me to log my full hours anyways and made it clear she and Chad are actively talking about this and taking it seriously. and I am almost certain she and he have been texting the whole shift. She also walked me to my car and said that this will continue for now until everything is resolved. I like Amy. This boss is really, honestly, I know she was quiet and she can't talk into it too much because that's, I guess, confidentiality if Casey has confided in her on her issues, like on her side of what she's got problems with. So she probably can't say anything like in details because that's Casey's information or what she has to do with it, because obviously by then if it's involving HR, you can't really get into it too much. But I'm really glad she's reassuring you and like helping you, trying to stay away from this person as much as possible until they get this figured out. And even walking to your car, that is so nice. Like, she doesn't have to do that, but honestly, I think that's really nice. Okay, she let her go to, till everything is resolved. About an hour after my shift ended, I got an email from her, Chad CC'd, saying that tomorrow, which was Friday, Casey will be assigned to admin duty in the back office unless something changes before the shift, and that we should not be interacting at all. It's a long weekend, so I figured all the behind-the-scenes stuff will be happening then. I also found out that Casey already presented her evidence. That includes the video she showed me before and another video from yesterday, Wednesday. Apparently, she filmed me at a local winery during Wine Wednesday. There's a clip of me getting up to grab a bottle a few steps away, and later another clip of me standing up and doing a small little celebratory dance after a tabletop game win. That's the part that really messed with my head because, hold on, when did she start recording me? For how long? Yeah, she showed the evidence. So she's not just done it once, but she's followed her again and recorded her without her knowledge, without her knowing she's there. So obviously she's like spying on her. She's stalking her. That's so creepy. And you presented it to your boss thinking it's completely normal. How is that completely normal? Tell me. How is that completely normal? How is Casey literally showing this evidence and still not feeling weird that she's showing evidence of someone else that she followed? That's ridiculous. Oh, it's not your business to look into this stuff. That's up to the boss. I don't know. I get it. Okay. So, I mean, I could maybe believe coincidence once. Like, okay, lightning struck and it's weird. Same town, same general area, blah, blah, blah. But twice, 2 different days, 2 different places, that's when it stopped feeling like my paranoia getting the best of me and started feeling unsettling. I'm honestly starting to wonder if this is something that might need police involvement, as some comments suggested, and I hate that my brain even went there, but I mean, what other options are there right now? I'm typing this from a bar right now. Girl, you need to relax. I know this with people who have chronic pain, that they sometimes take like other supplements, other ways to calm the nerves, and sometimes going to a bar and having a drink and socializing is sometimes really relaxing. So I understand these all being kind of like different ways that this is kind of like, especially if she's single and go out every night, that's your like just an hour after work. It's not a big deal. So, okay, so I'm typing this from a bar right now, but not the same one as before, thank goodness. It is still local to the school. Teachers come here a lot, and it's Thirsty Thursday. Okay, I love it when she's like, it's Wine Wednesday and Thirsty Thursday. I mean, she must have like a fun little local area that just does a bunch of these. So there's a bigger happy hour discount if you show your school ID. Joy is with me, and a couple other friends are on their way. Joy has been here during my shift in case I needed any backup fast. That said, my head is absolutely on a swivel. So is Joy's. I don't feel relaxed the way I normally would. I keep scanning the room without meaning to, and when people get too close to me or stand in any way facing me, I look up to see if it's her. It's so weird. I'm still trying to process all of this. And oh man, this is what happens. This is a stalker, because now you're always paranoid, thinking someone there and it's going to be her recording you. That's the stalker. I'm still trying to process all of this, and honestly, I'm confused more than anything. I keep going back and forth between maybe this is nothing and this doesn't feel normal. Right now, I'm just documenting everything and doing what HR tells me to do. But I don't like how small and watched this situation is starting to feel, and I hate that I'm recording every moment I can in case she pops up. If nothing else, I'm safe tonight and will be staying at Joy's. I'm not alone, and work has made sure we're separated for now. I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings. So unless something crazy happens, I won't be updating until this is resolved. Wish me luck. I guess there's one last edit. I just replied to a follow-up email answering some reoccurring questions HR asked. My answers I ended up centered around, I have never directly or indirectly invited Casey out anywhere. We are not friends outside of work and have never socialized one-on-one. I was also asked whether I feel safe at work. Right now, yes, because management has taken steps to separate us and has been present and supportive, which I have to give some applaud there to Amy and Chad for stepping up and figuring out how to make this socially not as awkward for both of you as this investigation keeps going. They have made some really good turns to make this right. So good job, management. That was good on your part. So taking steps to separate us has been present and supportive. I've yet to be alone at all at work. I'm continuing to follow their guidance and document everything as instructed. I'll update if anything materially changes, but for now I'm letting HR handle it outside, making a non-emergency police report in the morning. Okay. And of course that's the end. Oh no. Ugh. Let me see if the original poster. No. Is it this person? No, that's the person who posted it. Ugh. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so this is the original. Let's go to the originals. Oh. This is... Okay. So this was my... Okay, so this was 5 months ago. Okay, hold on. Former girl filming. Oh my goodness. She's got a lot of situations. Former coworker. Okay, good. I was asked a lot. Okay, so this is the last one we saw. So this was 6 months ago. So this is... Okay, here we go. I think this is a new update. So, hey, I'm on my phone, so sorry for typos. Happy Friday, guys. Thanks so much for all the sweet messages, checking on me. All things considered, I'm okay. My pain spiked pretty badly this past Tuesday, so I took it easy and took off my full-time job to pamper myself. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. This will be long as I'm trying not to forget anything so I can close this out or at least put a pin in it, as I know for me as a Reddit scroller, unfinished stories are almost as frustrating as the ones that go on forever. I'm hoping this is my final update on the matter. Legal is now involved. I genuinely didn't even know our organization had a legal department, but apparently it does, and they are looped in alongside HR. An HR rep has been communicating with me, but honestly, things have been very quiet on that front, which I'm taking as no news is good news. I'm still at my school, and I still love it. I love the students and faculty, and even the parents. Anyone in education knows parents can be great, or they can be so not great, LOL, and rarely is there in between. Casey has been transferred to an admin position at an office in the company I don't even go to. I haven't seen her since my last post, and I'm glad of it. Work has been peaceful without her. I have more work to do now as the only assistant coordinator there, but I'm starting to get my rhythm, and the staff there have been very supportive. Plus, I had more chances to get to know the people I work with. I mean, this is starting to look good. They've really made it, I think, because technically I don't know if they can fire her all the way yet. I have no idea. But removing the situation, like removing the actual person and moving her so they're not even with each other, that's, I think, the best move you could do. Which is what I tried to do with my former supervisor, who we were just not getting along. And I didn't want to, like, get her fired. Or honestly, I didn't want to, like, I just reported to HR saying, I want to be moved to another team. We do not collaborate good. She is keeping me and I would like to move. And they basically, I hated the HR then because they basically said, well, I think you just need to work it out. That's literally all they said. It was ridiculous. I was so miserable. Okay, so I'm so glad in this situation it is not that, and they're actually really taking, like, this serious. Okay, let's see. I still love it. I'm glad to be above it. Okay, work has been peaceful without her. I have more work to do now as the only assistant coordinator there, but I'm starting to get my rhythm. Okay, and happy to be with the people I work with. What I didn't expect was finding out from multiple coworkers in several conversations was that almost from the moment I joined that campus, Casey has been trying to spread rumors about me, including suggesting that I'm a danger to kids or that I have an explosive temper, which is honestly wild to hear about myself. I'm almost always described by others as soft-spoken to a fault and usually get told I need to be more strict with students. If anything, I balance Amy out as the good cop to her bad cop, plus the angry black woman tropes are so freaking tired. So it was extra annoying to find out that she was trying to paint me as such. She also said to people that the reason she took over my task was because I did them wrong or made her job harder and she had to redo things. She basically had a narrative that I was Mr. Magoo causing chaos, and she was the saintly, hardworking teammate trying to clean up my messes so I don't get in trouble. Ugh, sounds like this person has a problem with you. HR is still investigating, and I've been told to continue documenting anything that comes up, which is funny enough. I just had a coworker reach out to me from where I worked, which was back in end of April that I ended there, and I guess they're still investigating recently, I found out, on the whole situation that I left for. So that's interesting to hear. Okay, so HR is still investigating, and I've been told to continue documenting anything that comes up. I'm ready to do so, but so far it's been quiet. One unexpected upside is I'm now the sole person at my campus with my title, which came with a pay raise. Not how I would have chosen to get it, but I'll take the win. I did file a police report. Good job. I think I mentioned this in my last post, but if not, I was told very clearly that filming in public places isn't illegal, and there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in those spaces, so there was no criminal action taken. I mean, I get that, but this is more of a company matter that your coworker is following you outside of work hours more than once, and not to hang out with you, but to spy on you. So that's just a weird thing as like a person's like morals and how they are. So that's more of like the company on seeing them as a person, as like their own employee. So yeah. Yeah. So cue my eye roll, but at least it's officially reported. The report is strictly documentation. That's still okay, because then they have that file they have that report documented and on file, so then they can always have that if anything ever comes up. The local places I frequent have been made aware of the situation and that a report exists. Oh, good. Way to keep up with that. My friends were incredible. They helped me get my car cleaned. And detailed just to be absolutely sure that there wasn't anything like a tracker or AirTag like some comments suggested we do. I also finally got around to asking my neighbor to help me install my other security cameras. I used to have only one and my doorbell cam, and now I can pull up live footage on the whole system all around my house. And to those suggesting a dash cam, I already have one, turns out. I never used that feature, so my friends helped. My car is fairly new and I'm still getting used to it. I did start to go over and back up all footage going back since I started at my campus by motion activation points, and now have a hilarious compilation of the neighborhood cats being adorable, or the crows I feed leaving random things. LOL, yes, I did the crow mom thing. So another good thing came of this. I am not changing my routines. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little on edge, especially since multiple coworkers mentioned hearing Casey blow up at Amy on her last day on campus, and Amy sent her home for the day. This was on my day off, as only Amy and Casey worked MLK Day, and the coworkers there volunteered to work the holiday for extra pay, time and a half. What she said varies depending on who tells it, but the fact that it happened at all doesn't exactly make me feel warm and fuzzy, as I'm sure you'll understand. But I tell myself everything that can be done on my end has been done, so I try not to stress about it. That said, I also reached out to a few lawyers just to understand my options. I'm very aware that HR exists to protect the company, not me, so I want to cover my bases. I meet one over Zoom at my lunch break, so wish me luck. I still record when I walk to or from my car. My therapist reminds me to be careful to make sure my being proactive doesn't turn into living in fear and giving into my anxiety or PTSD. I'm taking that seriously, as my mental health has been a journey, and I don't want to go back to the way I was before. I can't and I won't let someone else shrink my life again, period. I do want to address reoccurring comments because I can't reply to everyone individually. She goes to bars a lot. Drinking is bad. Oh my gosh. Yes, I go to bars. Not that does not mean I drink heavily. It's a social thing, guys. Come on. That's what she's literally saying. She socializes. I'm not even going to go into that, seriously. And sometimes, look at this. She says sometimes I do a mocktail. It's for socializing. Literally. That's crazy. Okay. How does she have time to work 2 jobs and go out? Why won't she just go home? No, we're not. I'm not even going to address these. These are just dumb questions people are going after. Someone did say, don't go anywhere alone, OP. Concerns for my safety. Right now, I'm both safe and supported. I'm cautious, but I'm still living my life. I'm choosing not to let this take over my entire world, and it's supported by my therapist. Okay. I'm hoping this is my final update. There was an edit. An ice storm woke me up and looked at my phone. Joy and my other friends have a group chat, and I think they forgot which chat I'm on with them because I've been trading screenshots of Casey's social media. From what they gathered, Casey did put some of her socials on private in the past day or so, but that didn't stop my friends from screenshotting some disturbing posts. In short, Casey has brought into the stereotype that Black women especially steal from the government by leaning on welfare, such an age-old and tired racist trope yet again, and other government programs, and this includes faking disabilities to rip off public programs because we clearly don't want to work. I did just forward this all to HR rep, and I am in contact with. Turns out this probably wasn't about my cane after all, just plain flavored, canned racism without salt. Frankly, how boring is that in my country? Edit 2, Joy-eyed over with homemade, She came over with homemade chili and news. No idea what to make of it, but Casey is related to a higher up. Looks like an uncle/niece. They could be another reason legal is involved and we're getting at this point. Oh, okay, so she has some relatives higher up and that's why legal's involved. That's crazy. Okay. Sorry, that was a long update on that. And some of it I could have probably downsized. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll downsize it. But there is another one, and it's under legal advice that she posted, and the title is Former Coworker Filmed Me, Was Fired, and now I'm getting racist messages. What can I actually do? So she was fired. So legal probably thought this was a problem. And I'm sorry, when she's posting about racist things, or yeah, no, let's just say it's racist things, stereotyping things, and she's just that's not a person I want working in a school with kids. I don't want that kind of negativity and just people being outright like that on social media. Like, kids, that's the first place that, you know, kids these days, in this day of age, people will go to, and they're going to see everything you post, and it will affect your job. I'm serious, it will. I honestly think they've always in the past have said that to us. But that's kind of crazy. There are many reasons that they can fire you, and they probably won't say it's maybe your social media, but they definitely can have that as like your main reason, or a reason why they don't really want you underneath their care anymore, because that doesn't make you look good as a company when you have a person working under you that's posting racist and stereotypical things. So I'm not even going to read that, because at least I know she was fired, and there, justice for OP. Justice for OP. So there we go. So, okay, that was a huge story there, but I've still got some more stories just because I've given you guys a break on a couple of weeks of my just no stories. So here I am again, going to post probably a longer episode this week, just like I said, as I get back to adjusting. But you guys were worth it. I do hope that you guys enjoyed that. I have given you these longer ones until I can get back to the regular hour and a half ones every week. So, to the next story. Okay, so this next one is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? From 5 years ago. The title is, Am I the A-hole for telling my coworker that my personal out-of-work activities are as important as her kids? I mean, I ain't gonna judge here. Like, I know people with kids. Obviously, I have my own kids, and it's very important things I need to do with them. But if you don't have kids, you can have just as important hobbies. I don't know. It's your own thing. You can't expect people to have kids over people who are single and don't have kids to be always more. You can't always set them at a higher standard. So I already don't like how this coworker's acting towards this person. The entitlement that sometimes these people have in their life. And yes, kids are very important in a lot of ways, but not maybe to a personal matter that, I don't know. Well, let's get into the story here. So it starts off as, trying to keep this short. We'll see if it is. I am married, 36-year-old woman with no plans to have kids. I recently had an issue with a coworker where our boss emailed her and I to ask if one of us could cover an evening call. It's a 9-to-5 job, but we occasionally have evening calls due to collaborators in different time zones. The coworker asked me to do it because her son had a soccer game, but I said that I can't do it because I had a volleyball game. She said that I should do it because the soccer game is for her kid and my volleyball game is just for me. I said that respectfully, my outside of work commitments are not less important than hers because I don't have children, and that she should take the call because I had taken the last two. Well, there you go. It's just right there. You had taken the last two and she hadn't. This should be an obvious, like, hey, if you're going to be on this team and you're expected to, that, you know, this is part of the role, then you're going to have to make sacrifices. And this is where she needs to make that. Not the OP, but the coworker. Okay, goes on to say, she scoffed at me, and I know that other people around the office have been gossiping about me since and saying that it was super messed up that I made her miss her kid's soccer game. Yeah, no, I would be stressed. I would be mad at the coworker for thinking, oh, it's a volleyball game and you don't have a kid, so it's not important. No, if anything, I think OP's volleyball game is more important because she herself is involved in this event, whereas the coworker is just going to watch her kid's soccer game. Now, whether or not it was like she was the only person able to take her kid to soccer, maybe that would be another, like, story there, or maybe, like, another, like, kind of, like, story on, or reasoning as to, like, okay, I see your point. You are needing to take your kid to soccer, and there's no one else around to do it. But that wasn't the case here. The case was she had a soccer game that she had to go to watch her son. So I would assume that her son was being taken by whoever, or I don't know the case. She could call like a friend on the team and ask to take the son too. I honestly think the OP's situation, because she had already taken the last 2 calls, this was more important to her because she was already herself involved in the event for the volleyball game. So that's how I see it. This was a matter of me saying, like, oh, I had a kid that needed to go to soccer, or I was going to watch their soccer game. And I've run into that where, like, we've had games super close to when I was needing to get off. So either it was like, okay, we got to go now, or my husband had to take the kids early and I had to follow along. So if there was a case where, and I have had a case where, like, if I had to work overtime, because that's what I said I would have to do it, I would sacrifice sometimes missing games or practices to be able to do that. So I think that's just a matter of this in this case. It goes on to say, I think that it's incredibly important to support working mothers. I am always more than happy to accommodate the schedules of the mothers I work with when it doesn't cause a significant inconvenience to me. For example, some coworkers leave early to pick up their kids. Our company is great about that, and I'm happy to work project schedules around that. I also would have taken that call if I hadn't had a conflict, as long as it wasn't a pattern of me taking significantly more evening calls. Like I said, because she's already taken the last couple of them, she needed this break. She needed someone else to take it, because now she will always be expected to do it because they think she doesn't have a life. That is completely wrong thinking right there. Just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you don't have a life of your own, that you get to plan your own things in life. So that's crazy for this coworker, and then to spread gossip like that. That's just so immature and unprofessional right there. It goes on to say, I talked to a friend about this who is a mother, and she said that I should have just done it because people who don't have kids really should have more empathy for working parents, and we don't understand how hard it is. Oh, I don't like this friend. No, your friend, I don't know what your friend does for work, but I don't know. That's just, I don't think so. I don't think she's right at all. I said respectfully that I do understand that working mothers have much more stressful lives than I do, which is why I decided not to be a mother. I also said that I can have respect and empathy for working mothers and also value my time and choices equally. She similarly scoffed and said that I don't understand. Goodness, I have a problem with your friend, OP. I think your friend should be more, like, understanding of your situation, not just because this is like the first time you guys have ever had this situation. And I'd say, like, if it was the first time ever, maybe I'd take it. I don't know. That's the thing. If you're in this volleyball game and you've had it planned for a while, I don't know. But because you've taken the last 2 calls, I think it's only fair. I don't care if you're a working mother. You took this job understanding the roles of what you were going to have to do at times for it. And since you didn't take the last 2 calls, or the last 2 times, the late evenings, coworker, this is your time to step up and help your coworkers and have an equal role in that. Otherwise, OP should just get a promotion for taking more of these calls. And I know that's not how it works, but that's just how it should be if she's going to be taking more of these calls than the coworker. So she says, am I the a-hole here? Follow up. Thanks everyone for the support. I'd like to acknowledge that a lot of the support is coming from working mothers, which I appreciate. Almost all of this has been respectful, but for anyone bashing mothers generally using misogynistic terms, I don't need your support. And like I said, this is someone who's been working literally all her life. This is the first time she's ever become a stay-at-home mom as of right now. And I've always been a working mother, and I put a ton of respect for those mothers who can go out there and work. And I do respect that, with the schedules they have, they can't do certain things. And we're lucky to even have them working because they are literally still a full-time mom, having to do all the other things around with also putting a 40-hour work week in there. It's hard. Trust me. I know a lot of you know. But yeah, that's kind of like the whole reason why Justin took this whole other position, to kind of help me so I could have a little bit less stress on myself. But I still respect others who are not with kids and are working obviously full time. And I don't have this expectation to think, oh, you don't have kids? Well, then you must always want to work. Or you always must be looking for work. No, not everyone is looking for work constantly, or wanting to work overtime, or has nothing to do other than work because they don't have a life at home to, no, that's not right. She says she's married, so her and her husband have more, I guess, their time to do things. She's got her own hobbies, probably also with her husband having his own hobbies, so they're just doing their own things. Honestly, it sounds great what she does, and I think it's healthy. And the having no kids part, that's obviously her choice, but that shouldn't go against her when she's working with working mothers. So I think this whole thing is, they shouldn't be looking at well, you should pity me more because I have to work, plus I have to be a mother. No, you should look at this as, hey, mom or coworker, I know you're a working mom, but you took this role with an expectation of having to do some sacrifices possibly. You need to learn when to do those sacrifices, when the right time is, and to work with your coworkers, because even the ones that are single and maybe don't have as many obligation as you with the kids and everything at home, they still have to have their free time because they earn it, because they're working just as much as you. I just think it's a level of respect, and putting that, I know nothing's always going to be equally fair amongst how much everyone's working or how much they're putting in, but it does put a good balance and a healthy relationship within coworkers and a work environment when you're working together. In this case, she says, I would have worked with her more and taken it if it wasn't just a pattern of me always taking it. And I understand that. I really do. So the consensus of this whole post was not the a-hole, but I know this is 5 years ago, and I just feel bad that your friend was also scoffing at you and not understanding your situation. That's just where it should go both ways. Okay, on to the next story. The next story we have here is another Am I the A-hole? And this is from 6 years ago. And it is kind of a popular one I've seen in the past. But it is titled, Am I the A-hole for demanding my fiancé tell his coworkers that he will not be renewing his vows with his, in quotes, work wife when they return to the office? Now, I've heard this term work wife and work husband, and I'm not a fan of it. I mean, obviously, not my husband and I have never had that. We've never had anyone or say anything like that. I just think it's funny when I think I've heard more stories of a work wife and everything. I will say the time I really heard of it, it was so funny because my dad is still working. Bless his heart. He needs to retire because he deserves it. But he's got an assistant and he's had her for years. And it's so funny because I think someone mentioned one time saying oh, your work wife over there. And he's like, oh, no. That is definitely not my work wife. She is literally the age of my daughter. And so then he calls his assistant his work daughter. Because it's no, she's more like my daughter's age, and that she's more like a daughter to me, which she kind of was she was kind of going to him for advice about I think the people that she was dating, and she recently did get married in the last couple of years that him and my mom were invited to. So it was it was really sweet and everything. So that's a cute example when I think of like work wife and work husband, not in that type, but like he's like, oh no, like very respectful. I mean, I come from a very loving home with parents who've been married for over 30 years. So it's, I love that for them. So this whole work wife, work husband, I don't like it. I've heard too many stories of obviously not good relationships at home, hearing about the other person that they're working closely with that is kind of ruining their marriage. That's usually how the story goes. So we'll see, if this goes well or not. I don't know. It depends on how this OP is handling things too. And I guess her husband too. So let's go into it. My fiancé, Mark, works closely with a woman, Megan. They both have similar responsibilities and need to work together as a team. I've never had a problem with this. They don't really interact outside of work. We have been working from home the last several weeks. I happened to be in the living room with him yesterday while his office had their weekly Zoom meeting. During that meeting, people began talking about what they wanted to do when everyone would return to the office. I could hear someone say that my fiance and Megan must really miss each other. Several other people began referring to them as work wife and work husband. Then someone suggested that my fiance and Megan should renew their vows when everyone is back in the office. Mark just played along and joked that they would be registered at Office Depot. I left the living room in tears while he continued, oblivious to how I was feeling. Ooh, okay. I confronted him after that call and said I felt humiliated. Our wedding was supposed to be in September, but we've had to postpone it and it's not clear when it will be safe to reschedule. And here he's talking about renewing his vows with someone from work? Mark explained that it was just a joke and not a big deal. He tried to show me some joke article his office had been passing around about how teleworking is ruining work-wife relationships. I said the term work-wife itself is offensive and humiliating because I'm supposed to be his wife. I demanded that at his next meeting, he needed to publicly apologize to his office and tell them that he will not be renewing his vows with Megan because he is engaged to marry someone else. I said he also needs to tell his office that they need to stop calling him and Megan work spouses. Okay. Sorry, I already have feelings about this. He says he can't do that because it will be embarrassing and hurt his reputation at work with his colleagues. I said, oh, is it hard to feel embarrassed? I would never know how that is like. He called me an a-hole. Now that I'm cooled down a little, I needed to figure out if I overreacted. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, no, I kind of think this is a lot here. This is a lot. Okay, so the whole thing I said, I don't like work wife and work husband. I really think in this situation, I don't think it's that deep. I don't think this work wife and work husband it's that deep because everyone else is going along with it because I know they have to work so close together. Yeah, no, I don't know. I will say, like, maybe, I know he was joking around with it. I don't know. See, here's the thing. I think I've joked with my husband so many times of where he's worked at, and he's mentioning how he's had to train, like, some new girls and everything, and I literally, this will be so funny, because this is just how we've been married for so long, and I'll be like, oh, is she cute? Like, does she like you and everything? Like, you guys have been working so much together, like, and I think, yeah, no, he's, and I don't know how many times we'll talk about his other coworkers, and I'll be like, oh, like, I just want to get the tea off of it. That's literally all I'm doing is, like, I don't care. And if I'm so secure in my marriage, though, I'm so secure in my marriage, so secured, and he is too. And the thing is, it's like he'll be talking about something, and we'll joke, be like, "Oh my goodness, your girlfriend over at work," because you hang out with her all the time, and it's because they have to work together. So I think if OP kind of lightened up a little bit, I think right now with all the emotion at that time 6 years ago, obviously during the pandemic, and having to postpone her wedding because of the pandemic, I think she's very high on emotions and roller coastering it. And I bet hearing that, renewing the vows, and they're joking and making all these plans, I kind of think she's got more of an issue that they don't know when their own wedding's going to take place, and her husband, or sorry, her fiance is like pretend making all these plans for a fake wedding. I think that hurts her more than the whole work wife situation, because she literally said, I never had any problems with this, having like him working with someone so closely. So I honestly think she's just very emotional right now and all over the place because of the whole wedding situation. And then obviously her fiance, maybe he's putting more thought, like jokingly, I know it's jokingly, but more thought into making this renewing vows like wedding with the coworker than she's probably ever heard him do, like being involved with their own wedding. And that's maybe probably put a little like jealousy out there, and probably disbelief too. So it's probably made her just like not humiliated. I just don't think she likes the feeling that he's putting more thought into like this joking wedding with his coworkers than their own actual wedding. And I do think she did overreact a bit, especially the whole like, I need you to, like, I'm going to make him at his next meeting apologize to the office that he will not be getting married or renewing the vows because he is engaged to someone else. Like, obviously everyone knows about that. I think that the fiance could have comforted her more, just a little bit, about like, hey, it's just a joke, we're kidding, don't worry about it, we're probably not really gonna do anything, we're just throwing banter out there with the coworker because we're all excited to come back into the office and work with each other. Like, I get that. I get that part. I really do. So I honestly think everyone here just could have handled things differently. The consensus was everyone sucks. And let's get into some comments. But I honestly think everyone else, OP, fiance, could have handled these things, like, handled differently how everything was done. She overreacted. Yes, so I would say she is a bit of an a-hole for overreacting, but she needed to literally take a deep breath and just talk to her fiance more instead of like coming after him about it. Fiance could have been a little bit more like understanding, like, hey, I know this is a lot of emotions right now, but right now if you don't, like, OP, if you don't tell him the real reason why you're maybe upset, he'll never understand. And maybe that's where we're at. It's just a miscommunication because she's directing her frustration, upset, anger, and everything with this whole renewing vows, when it's probably just, I don't know when my wedding's gonna be and I'm upset about that. Top comment, it says like, His Holiness the Poop. It did say everyone sucks here. I think the whole work wife thing is disrespectful and silly, but you did overreact to what was obviously a joke. I agree. I think all of them, it wasn't deep. It was just a joke. He's not literally going to be renewing his vows with anyone or registering at Office Depot, and forcing him to tell everyone that they need to stop calling him and Megan work spouses is going to make a mountain out of a molehill. I give everyone the impression that you're a difficult person. And give everyone the impression that you're a difficult person. Just ask him to stop joking about it. I mean, that's very valid to just ask him, like, hey, I don't, mind the whole, like, you guys working together, but could you maybe, like, tone it down on the work wife? I just don't want that to become a thing. And if he's like, chill out, it's just a joke, and you'd be like, yeah, But I just don't like the whole work wife and work husband. I think it's very, it's nonsense, and it just can be kind of disrespectful since there shouldn't be anything about a work wife. OP did respond to that, saying no, they were actually planning out how to do it, like where in the office to hold the ceremony and reception, etc. My fiance was fully on board planning. Meanwhile, I have to what did I say? Meanwhile, I have to nag him constantly to help me reschedule our actual wedding plans. Yeah, no, that's the situation here. It's because he's making more effort joking and planning this whole renewing of the vows than he is getting involved with his actual real wedding. And I feel for her on that. I really do, because the whole point of she doesn't want to nag him, and she feels like she has to, and then all of a sudden he's like, she's hearing this full on because they're working together remotely in the same quarters or same spot, and she's hearing all of this without it's just complete effortless with him joking about it. I feel for her. Someone else actually said underneath that, saying, in that case, not an a-hole for asking that he don't go through with it, but it would be embarrassing for him to publicly apologize and say he wouldn't go through with it in front of everyone. Maybe ask him to talk to Megan separately and tell her it's only a joke and won't be doing a ceremony. So, I honestly, let's see. Someone said, this all could be an elaborate joke. My friends and I will often plan ridiculous things like this with no intention of it happening. That's part of it, is in the humor, and the balloon arc could go by the water cooler like jokes. That clearly it's not serious. It's just a silly way for the team to blow off steam. So I know technically he's like, oh, we could go through this and that and that. Honestly, I think they're just coming up with ways to have a conversation with each other, and they're really having some fun with it. Who knows when they're going to go back, obviously, because this was during the pandemic. So who knows if anything was actually going to happen. I do think you demanding him to apologize was too much. I honestly think you had your fun with it. You should just say, okay, guys, you know what? Obviously, this isn't going to happen. Let's just all get excited to see each other and plan like an outing or something when we're able to. That's how it probably should have gone. But yeah, I'd say everyone sucks here, as in OP, you should have just talked to your fiance and to tell him how you're feeling. And the whole real reason why you're upset is not because of the renewing of the vows, but that it just sounds like he's having way more fun planning that out than really rescheduling the really important one, which is your own wedding. So yeah, on to the next one. Okay, so the next one, I mean, why am I surprised? I'm not. It's also from Am I the A-hole? And this is from more recent though. This isn't a post from 8 months ago. And it's titled, Am I the A-hole for refusing to clock out early so my coworker can take her kid to the hospital? So am I the a-hole for refusing to I'm sorry, I gotta say this again. Am I the a-hole for refusing to clock out early so my coworker can take her kid to the hospital? So I'm not for sure why you have to clock out early, but that sounds kind of serious. So let's get into it. I, 31 female, carpool to work every day with 4 coworkers. We all live about an hour away from the office and have been carpooling ever since they forced us back to full-time in person so that we could share commuting expenses, gas, and tolls. One of my coworkers, let's call her S, has a young child who recently got very sick. For the last few days, he's been having constant nosebleeds, so bad that he's even gone through an entire roll of toilet paper trying to stop the bleeding. That sounds a little serious. Last Sunday night, it got so bad that they took him to the hospital. On Monday, she still came to work as usual and didn't mention anything about it until we were all driving home. That's when she told us that she hadn't asked her boss for the time off to take her kid to the hospital because she didn't think she would be allowed. She also said that if she doesn't get him seen soon, he could die. Okay. So she asked if the next day we could all take her car instead of the usual drivers, let's call him A, and if everyone could clock out at 4:45 instead of 5:30. 5:30 is when A and I normally finish. The 3 clock out at 5. Okay, so I guess some of the people who carpool together get off at 5, whereas OP and someone else gets off at 5:30. So they just probably wait around. We told her we'd think about it and would need to clear it with our managers. After talking it over, A and I decided we would just find another ride home so S could leave whenever she needed. The plan was she would drive her own car to work, we'd all ride with her in the morning, and then in the afternoon, A and I would get a ride with someone else so she could go straight home and get her kid to the doctor. When A called her later on that night to explain this plan to her, she got furious. She accused of us being heartless and not caring about her child and said what goes around comes around, and then dramatically announced she would just reschedule the doctor's appointment so it wouldn't inconvenience us, even though we never asked her to do that. And even though she had just told us an hour before that her son's nosebleeds haven't stopped and he could literally die. Yeah, I already see where this is going. You guys all carpool together. It's expensive. And she doesn't want to have to use her own money. That's the thing. She wants you guys all to ride with her and to take extra time off just so she doesn't have to, so you guys can all pay each other's money. I just think that's ridiculous. I know that's where it's going. I really do. That's why she's mad. Okay. I'm angry because she was the one who originally said she'd take her own car and drop us off so she could go straight home to her kid, and we were totally fine with that plan. But we knew that there was no way our managers would let us leave 45 minutes early for someone else's child. A and I don't have children, but honestly, if my child was bleeding that much, I would have called out or left early the day before and taken him to the ER. Not showing up to work and dropped the news casually on the commute home. I'm also confused and concerned at her saying that her kid could die, but yet she's rescheduling a doctor's appointment instead of dropping off everything and taking him straight to the ER. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to clock out early so my coworker could take So, am I the a-hole for refusing to clock out early so my coworker can take her kid to the ER? I'm going to say no, because I already know where this is going. She's furious because she wants everyone to still ride with her so they can pay her gas and the commute and everything. But she also is making everyone leave early so she could actually get her kid to probably a doctor's appointment before they close for the night, instead of going to the ER, which obviously I know it's more expensive to go to the ER, but I'm sorry, you're gonna have to, there's times you don't want to go to the ER, but I think the whole nosebleed and my kid could die conversation is just so she can make the coworkers feel bad or be like, oh yeah, whatever you want. But that's not how it is for everyone, because not everyone has, especially when they said like, oh, all of a sudden I need the time off. Sometimes works require a 24 to 48 hour request ahead of time before you can take it off, or you'll get marked. And if you can just find another ride, it's not worth getting marked up for something that wasn't even about you the whole time, why you need to take time off early. So no, obviously you're not the a-hole. The consensus of this person of OP was not the a-hole. Let's look at some comments really quick. So top comment was, I don't understand why any of this is an issue. If she needs to take her child to the hospital, she should use her car that day, and the rest of the group should carpool in a different vehicle. None of this makes any sense, but if it's real, not the a-hole. Someone underneath it says, I think she's upset about the additional cost of not sharing gas and tolls for one day. It's odd to me that nobody seems to be talking about how absurd that is. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like the one day she's got to go by herself, she's upset because she has to pay for everything. I'm sorry, if it's worth you having to take your own car so you can get back home earlier to take your kid to the hospital, then it's one day. It's what's more important, money for gas that you can save on by driving with others, or taking your kid to the doctor so they can get this nosebleed taken care of. I think everyone else is saying that anyone that can't skip work to take their kid to the hospital is either in extreme financial distress or a negligent parent. I'm going to guess, given the rest of the context, that she's in extreme financial distress, as in can't afford gas to get home kind of distress. I mean, that could be a possibility. You gotta look at all the possibilities, and maybe she's just furious because she is only asking them to get off a little bit earlier. But I honestly think that's just selfish for thinking that way, just because you can't expect everyone else to be able to change their plans or schedule their lives around you, or their work schedules around you, when you have an urgent crisis like this or a situation. So even if you're in distress, like a financial distress, I honestly think you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit. Yeah. So the difference would be, someone says the difference would be like $5. I have a hard time believing she works full time and can't muster up $5 for a one-time emergency. Yeah, I honestly, it depends on the situation all the way. We don't really know the whole situation, just what she's asked her coworkers to do for her. And at this viewpoint of what OP is telling me, it does sound absurd on what she's asking for. But we don't know the crisis of her situation. And obviously I think you would think, okay, if you can't get off early, then I'll just take my own car. But the whole gas and everything is throwing me through a loop, because I don't know what kind of situation she is in to be mad. Yeah, so that's just, we need more information, I think. I don't think OP is the a-hole, because if you can't take it off early because your managers probably won't let it happen, especially since it's not a situation that's involving you specifically, I honestly, there's nothing you can do about it. There's just so many things you can't do about that. And I feel bad for the coworker, because maybe she's really in a sticky predicament that she's really needing, she's needing this job and she can't afford to get off of it, but she's really needing to take her kid to the hospital. And I do know jobs that can be pretty awful when they won't have any loopholes to try and get you to be there for your family. So I feel for her, but yeah, I honestly think she just can't expect the coworkers to get off all of a sudden, especially when it was just casually hey, can you do this for me? And then tell them that, hey, my son's about to die and I really need this done. I don't know. That just seems so back and forth. Anyways, let's go to the last story I think I have for us. Now, I couldn't have ended the last one with it being woo, this is a big one. So this one is from 7 years ago, and it is from the subreddit Pro Revenge. Ooh. So I'm guessing you guys have heard similar stories like this, because there are a bunch out there that I know that people do this. And sometimes it can be justified, sometimes it can't be. So let's figure out if this pro revenge is definitely justified or not. The title is, a coworker was eating people's lunches, so I, in quotes, poisoned them and got them fired. So poisoned them and got them fired. So you did both. You didn't get, reprimanded for this at all. Okay. Well, let's get into it. So I like to bring my own food into the office, and we have a fridge to put things into. And I have my own food in tubs with my name on them. A coworker would sometimes not see people's names on food and think it was theirs. So they would heat it up and eat it and then apologize. Which, I'm sorry, if you have the same exact tubs, Tupperware, lunchbox, if you have the same exact ones, I get it, but I don't understand that. How do you not remember what you brought for lunch and think it was yours? I get it when my former workplace we would all eventually get the same lunch bag as a treat, and I actually did bring some of that with me. Well, then a ton of other people did too. So there would be times I think I had to put my name in there, and then I would always put it in a specific spot, but there were so many in there. I wouldn't be mad if one time someone got into it and started rummaging into it, but they would have realized right away oh, I didn't pack this, unless they don't know what they're packing their own lunches with, unless someone else is making it for them. But I just don't understand oh, I got in here, I opened this container, and I ate this food, and I just realized it wasn't mine. Then where was yours? Because then you should trade off. Do a tradesy. I don't know. If you don't have anything to trade with, then you knew you didn't bring your own lunch. That just makes me so mad. Yeah. Okay. They did this enough for it to be an annoyance, but not enough for our employers to really care. This has been happening with my food for once or twice a month. Okay, that's not bad if it's once or twice a month, but I do understand it oh, when is my food going to be taken? Kind of if this has been going on for how many, multiple months in a row, then I understand. This person is trying to be smart and probably going around to someone else's, and they probably marked down, oh, I haven't ate from theirs in over a month. We might be okay here, as long as it's not consistently in the same week or a couple of weeks. Okay, so last month I had enough. I like spicy food, but I don't bring it into the office sometimes. I'll let people try some of my food and my cooking. I ordered a bag of ghost chili peppers and put the full bag into a big pot of chili that would last for several days. Oh my goodness, whew. I took this into the office and had it for lunch every day. Now, I know I can take some spice, but that is definitely a significantly more amount of spice and heat than maybe your average normal person can take. Midweek, my lunch went missing, and I was waiting for that person. I was just waiting. I was waiting for the person who was stealing my lunch to get a shock when they ate my lunch. What happened in reality was someone got sent home sick, and the next day they were off, and I was told they went to the doctors for stomach pains. That's definitely a way you can find out. Narrow it down to who ate your lunch. 2 weeks went by, and the coworker who was off refused to talk about it and said HR was involved, so I knew they were going to try and get me fired. Are you kidding me? I went home and ordered another bag of ghost chilies and made another batch of my chili, this time with only one chili in a single tub. I put this in the freezer, and the following Monday I was told I had an HR meeting that day. I refused and said that they need to give me 24 hours to find someone to come into the meeting with me. The next day, I had my manager come into the meeting and brought in my now heated ghost chili infused chili. Wait a minute. Okay, so hold on. The following Monday, I was told I had an HR meeting that day. So that same day, he was going to go to HR, and this guy was smart and refused and says, you have to give me 24 hours to find someone to come in. So they probably were planning to have this meeting with just him and no manager or supervisor of his, that he could go to. That's sneaky on the company. So this guy was smart And for you out there, if HR ever calls for a meeting on something, you're just like, I'd like to have my manager present, especially if you know you're not in the wrong with something. Yeah, just that could just go down really fast. Anyways, it says, the long and short is I was told I could be fired for trying to poison the person who was stealing my lunch. And I asked if they admitted to stealing people's lunch, which they did. I then said, I have a batch of the chili in question with me, and I like spicy food. My liking spicy food should stop me from having it at work since it doesn't smell when heated like fish. And my manager agreed it was on the person who took my lunch without knowing how spicy it was. And I should not be held liable if they eat something of someone else's that doesn't agree with them. My manager and I then ate some of the chili. I mean, this is ridiculous how far this is going. They're actually eating this person's food to prove that it's spicy. That's ridiculous. So this, I don't know, maybe this guy has talked about it enough times that they have had the suspicion that he did this on purpose. Because he's probably complained enough times and said, I should just do this with the food. And maybe it's gotten back that he did plan this. And yeah, I could see how that could be really bad. So this guy, like, if you're going to say what plan you have, you can't be saying it out loud. But I don't know. That's just ridiculous that they're taking this far in an HR. They're actually trying this person's food. Okay. Okay, where was that? Okay, so they both took a bite. Let's see. And when they asked for it, okay, hold on. The manager and I then ate some of the chili and offered it to the other people in the meeting. Some of them tried it and agreed while it was spicy, it was clearly what I liked, as I was fine eating it. The meeting ended and nothing happened. I wasn't taken into another meeting and my lunch wasn't taken anymore. But the person who had stole our lunch got a slap on the wrist and was allowed to stay at work. Oh, wait a minute. I'm confused. What's the title again? And got them fired. But they got a slap on the wrist. Okay. There's still some more, so let's figure this out. Okay, so lunches started to go missing again. So my manager went to HR to say that the lunches were going missing and he knew who was taking it and had proof this time. Oh, the manager did. Okay, and when they asked for the proof, he presented the meeting record with the line highlighted where they admitted they had stolen lunch and the line where HR said that this was not what the meeting was about. Okay. They were fired the next day for theft of property and told they would not be given a reference. So TLDR, a coworker was eating people's lunches, so I poisoned them and got them fired. Poisoned as in quoted, quotation marks. Edit, thanks for the gold, but I'd rather you spend the money donating to the current issues in Hong Kong right now. There are a number of ways to do this listed here. Oh, that's very nice. I don't know what those issues are, but... Edit number 2, it was removed due to the Amazon link. Okay, well, it's just going towards whatever. But do you guys think that was a justified pro-revenge? I do think, because this is something edible that you put in there, and most of the time when I'm seeing these kind of stories, it is because of something like spicier that they're eating. It could be something exactly what they would eat anyways, obviously. But... And she put the full bag. So yeah, this person put a full bag of ghost chili peppers. That's a lot. That's a lot. But it did go in there to make it to last for several days. So this person did say that I wouldn't eat this normally. So they were just making a normal like meal that they would normally have. So that's, I mean, smart that they did another round of it because they knew this was probably going to be another problem happening. That's just, I just think it's more ridiculous how HR handled it, knowing like, hey, you could get fired if you poison this person, you know, and I don't know, unless OP has been kind of bragging how they should put something spicy in people's food so this person doesn't, you know, I don't know. I don't really know what to believe here, but I will say this was definitely pro-revenge. A ghost chili pepper, that is... not gonna settle well with other people. And like this person obviously found out that it did not settle well with them. So I will say I do hear so many of these stories, and the person that is in the wrong is the one that's trying to get the other person in trouble. And it's like, hello, you did the first wrong act by taking other people's meals that weren't yours, and it's been happening for a while. I see so many of these kind of stories, and the people not getting reprimanded for it. They should be. They should be getting. They should have consequences for their actions towards their coworkers. You know, and probably the only reason this person at the end got fired is because they took the manager's food. Possibly, I don't know. The manager knew that there was stuff happening, so they knew because they were looking into it. That's the only reason. If it was another coworker and the manager's like, oh, I'll send something to HR, they probably would not get anything done again. So, yeah. Oh, someone has like a little story for like for comments. So someone did put down there, years ago, I was a dispatcher for a trucking company and lunches were going missing. A coworker suffered from a condition of his digestive system that required frequent colonoscopies. As a result, he had access to some pretty powerful laxatives. So, okay. So this is an example, I think, of maybe not justified. So he spiked his lunch. Sure enough, it went missing. There's a stretch of highway called the 401, and the guy who swiped the lunch was a truck driver. Here's the thing. The distance between the exits on that highway is considerable. I guess he didn't make it, as word got around the terminal that the driver basically crapped all over the cab and had to pay for the cleanup. Ugh. And OP had actually responded underneath that saying that it sucks that people would stoop so low as to steal someone else's food that they work with. I mean, I don't get that. You're going to be found out eventually. There's only so many people there. You're going to be found out. And okay, that's the thing. I've heard of this. When people put laxatives. Now, when you're putting literal things that are going to make you like crap your pants later because you're putting enough in there that it's gonna happen, I honestly think you shouldn't do that. Is it right for that person to steal the lunch? No. Should they get in trouble for it? Absolutely. They should get punished for or trouble. They should have they should be accountable for it, basically. But I don't think you should put laxatives in those things. I think ghost chili peppers, because you were making the meal yourself and you were going to eat it yourself already and you were able to take that. That I think is fine. That's a great example of, I can eat this. If you can't, then you shouldn't be taking my food. I wouldn't do now I guess this person usually does put that stuff in his food because he's recent colonoscopies, but I think he maybe just has that for like at home, and he did put a bunch of that stuff in there to make sure like, oh, I'm going to definitely find out who this person is. I don't think you should do that. Don't be messing with their like system like that with other medical, like even over the counter, I guess, supplements and medicine and I don't know, whatever. I think the ghost chili peppers was a good example just because that person could eat them. So yeah, this is where this one underneath OP story not justified. I think OP story is justified for the pro revenge because yeah, I just think so. Okay, guys, that is all the stories I have, and here I am making it like just around 2 hours ish. Like I said, we've had so much going on. We've had excessive, so much heat, in the high temperatures with the heat and everything and the humidity, that it has been really hard to find time to do this without having fans blowing all over the place and keeping our house cool, because our AC it's been hard to keep up. That's just how crazy hot it's been. And I'm getting these out there. I'm going to be more consistent. I promise I will be. It's just working with the schedule. with everything going on in my life. And that's just what happens. So if you guys have any suggestions of what kind of stories you want, you guys are more than welcome to click on the link that's on every single episode I have at the bottom. It goes to my streaming platform that basically you can communicate or ask me questions through that. You can also email me at the Reddit Randos at gmail.com. And then I know I said I have an Instagram. It's very basic, so you guys can go over there and put a like or or go on YouTube and subscribe if you'd like. Up to you. I mean, I'm kind of chill right now, so as we get into this more, I just want you guys to be able to listen to these stories and let me know what you think. Put a comment out there for me. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, whatever time it is in the day for you. And until next time, see you later. Goodbye.